Welcome to How to Film Weddings. I am Nick, and today I am continuing to talk about how to edit a wedding video. If you missed my first two videos, the first one I talked about culling and getting kind of prepared for the edit, and the second one I talked about syncing using Pluralize, which is an amazing plugin that you should definitely be using if you're not. And then going through and picking out the bits of audio that I want to include in my video. So today in part 3 of how to edit a wedding video, I'm going to talk about music licensing and what websites I use, and then what I look for in picking out a song for a specific edit. Are there certain things a part of the wedding video that really influence the type of music that I pick? And the answer is yes. Then I'm going to show you how I make that song exactly how long I want it to be. And then I'm going to jump in to Premiere and continue with the edit and show you how I lay out the entire thing and what I look for and when I want certain events to happen. So let's start talking about music. When it comes to any type of production, if you're using music, make sure you license it. You want to be legal. Lots of websites are really cracking down. Vimeo has recently started basically just deleting tons of accounts if they don't have fully licensed music that you can provide. So license your music. YouTube has always been a real stickler. Facebook is starting to become that way. You don't want these big mega music companies coming after you and possibly suing you and taking away your business because you used the song because a couple asked for it. License your music. There are a few websites that I look at whenever this is just me, I don't know exactly what John does, but whenever I look for music to license, I use a few different sites. The one that I'm currently using the most is called Artlist. It is a subscription-based website. I believe it's about $200 a year currently at the filming of this, and it's unlimited music. So for that $200, I can download as many songs as I want, use them on whatever, YouTube, Facebook, no problems at all. I don't get dinged, I don't get ads or anything like that pop up. So I use Artlist. Another great subscription one is Soundstripe. And they're a little bit cheaper, but they are continuing to come out with quality music more and more and more. They keep adding new stuff all of the time. In my opinion, probably the best website for this is going to be the Music Bed. However, with the Music Bed, it's at least $50 per song. And while it has the best quality, it has the best music, it has the highest price tag. And I mean, whenever you're the best, you can have the highest price tag, and that's perfectly okay. A site that I don't use is Song Freedom or Firefly or Fire, whatever they're called now. I don't even know. And it has nothing to do with their service or whatever. I know tons of people use their service and they absolutely love it. It's just, they really seem to, at the beginning, geared more toward like pop music and popular music that I know you can absolutely use and fit in, but it's just not the style that I want to go with. We use more instrumental music, absolutely 100% instrumental. I cannot even tell you the last time that I put a song in one of my wedding videos that had lyrics. It's just been a really, really long time since I've done that. We're very audio heavy, so I like using songs that have no lyrics. Now, we are continuing to edit Mason and Grace's video today, and when I was looking for a song, there are a few things that really stuck out to me about their day. One, the only dancing that they had at their reception was their major dances. They didn't have a big party. The reception was basically after their 3 dances were done, their major dances were done, the reception was over. So we didn't have, I don't have any dancing. So something that's really, really super high energy, I don't want, because I don't have enough high energy kind of stuff to fill that in. Does that make sense? Another thing is I had a lot of good emotional reading, their letter reading. They did some interviews that were so good. Their toast, they had some really good powerful emotional things in their toasts, and so I want to include music that will kind of fit that. One of the great things whenever you go over to a site like Artlist or MusicBed or Soundstripe or Song Freedom, any of those, is you you come in here and see, you have these things called waveforms. And they can kind of show you the build of the song. And I already know that a song like this, just even looking at it, I know that it's not going to be one that I'm going to want because it doesn't build and it's just like big the entire time. Something, you know, probably something that looks kind of like this one, you know, where it kind of gradually builds. That's going to be a really good one for me. I have already selected the song and I've already downloaded it. So now I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to take a minute and I'm going to open Adobe Audition and show you how I make this song that's only about 4 minutes and 15 seconds and turn it into a song that's right at the 5-minute mark that I'm looking for. Okay, so here I am in Adobe Audition and I'm taking the song and I'm dropping in. And as you can see, it is only 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And I need this one to be about 5 minutes long. And this is a great way to really get your music to be almost exactly how long you want it to be. So what you need to do in Adobe Audition is open a new multi-track session. I've already done that, a new multi-track session, and then just drag your music right on here. And here you can see that it's on my timeline. So you go into properties here and you click Enable Remix. Enable Remix. And Audition is going to take a few moments and it's going to analyze the entire song and kind of pick points. Okay, so now Adobe Audition has gone through and enabled the remix. And so what I want to do, what you can do is you can just say down here, the target duration is I can make it, change this to 5 minutes, and then I hit return and it just does this and bam. As you can see, it automatically just added some little things, and if you play back here, listen, and when it crosses this line, you'll notice you can't tell a difference. It's really amazing. It's really, really powerful. But I don't want this ending part to be the part that gets longer. And so I found kind of a workaround around that. So what I do, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to take my razor tool here and I am going to make, whoops, cut it right there. And I know this entire thing is 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And so I need to add about 45 seconds to the song. So this is the part I'm going to try to make a little bit longer. It's 1 minute and 30. So I'm going to change this to 2:15, and it made it 2:08. It tries to make the duration, but obviously with music you can't just make it exactly how long you want it to be. And if you listen here, you can see this kind of Greg wiggly line. Okay, so you see how it, you can't even tell that there's a difference. Now I come in here and I ripple delete this gap. So that makes it, and because I cut it right where I cut it, and the ending is the same. So it doesn't change anything. It just goes right in to the next part of the song, which is great. So I'm still about, where am I? I'm still about 10 seconds short. So I am actually going to cut it here in this section. And then put this at 45 seconds. And it did not do anything with that one. So let's see if I can make it. Okay, I put it at 55 seconds and that actually made it at 45 seconds. So then I will ripple delete this gap. Just play back and listen. Okay, so now I have my song that is right at about 5 minutes, which is the exact duration that I wanted it to be at. So I go File, Export Multi-Track Session, and there we go. Now I have my song that was 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and now it's 5 minutes with no gaps and no guessing, and I don't have to try and match stuff up. This is really, really cool thing that you can do. So now I take this and I will drop in my music. I usually do drop it on about the third line, just so I'm not dealing with other audio. And then the other thing that I like to add for all of my edits, I always add the black widescreen crop bars to it. It's just something that I've done from the beginning, and I really like the look of it. I know there's some people that don't, but I do, and I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I want to, because it's my business and I can. So, okay, so now the big thing that I do when it comes to preparing for the edit, one thing about me is I am not big on chronological. I don't necessarily have to start with hair and makeup and then end with them leaving the reception. I put it how I think the story folds and how it all fits and how everything goes together. And so I look for points in here of things that I really, really want to show. And I look at that through the build of the music, right? So as you come in here, we can see that here's kind of a lull in the music right here. And then maybe I have okay, here at 55 seconds, I know that, hey, this could be, because this music builds just a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what it will be, but maybe this could be something like maybe the first look, start that there, or a really good, bride shot, bride portrait shot, a couple portrait shot. And I look for places in the music where I know I want big things to happen. That's the very, very first thing that I lay out. And I just found that this is really a great way to build the wedding video is by laying out some of these things so that you don't have, there's like no guesswork, like at 3 minutes exactly this is whenever the bride's going to come down the aisle. Now, because they did not do because there wasn't much reception dancing, reception party, like that kind of stuff, I think I'm gonna have like her coming down the aisle be the big climax of this film. And probably right around here you can see right about here where it just really takes that uptake in the waveform. So let's take a listen, see what it sounds like. Okay, and as you heard right here, whenever there was this big hit, that could be a great place maybe for the bride to come out the aisle, or whenever we see his face for the first time whenever they see each other. So I'm definitely gonna mark that and put so you really edit to your music, listen to your music, and find out what you think some of the important parts are. Now, I did go through and I did cut this up and I looked at it, but I'm gonna now kind of go through and start laying out and piecing together this wedding video. So here we go. Now sometimes whenever you're editing, maybe a couple speaks a little bit faster than you want them to, so it's totally, one thing I do is cut and then space it a little bit so that it takes up a little bit more time and it slows it down just a little bit. Here, as I've started putting this together, there's this part where she starts to get a little bit emotional, and then that's when the music kind of dings in and starts playing a little bit more. So I think that that is a good, she starts reading, she gets emotional, this music starts playing kind of thing.
Grace, thank you so much for doing this walk with me. I love you so, so much. You are truly a blessing to me, and I am so lucky to have you in my
Okay, and then I like to cut back and forth between maybe the bride and the groom. Now again, I'm a big believer in incorporating as much as I can and jumping around a little bit. So I'll go from her letter to his letter to a toast to an interview that they had, and just really build this and get a sense of who they are as a couple. Okay, sometimes as you're building this, you find chunks that you like, and I put maybe a first look here, but that's only 50 seconds in. That could be kind of early, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. Find something else. Now I did do a rough cut of this guy's his brother's toast. Needs some cleaning up. There's lots of pauses and ums and ands and that kind of thing. So I'm now gonna go through and clean that up here. One thing that I've learned recently that I've started doing is audio. When it comes to like the background music, it's really hard for me, to get it at the right level, because sometimes the volume's too low, sometimes it's too high, sometimes you can't hear the voices. And so an effect that I have found that I've turned to is the graphic equalizer, the 10 band one. I'm gonna add it right here. And then if you take these middle 4 and then drop them to about 10 dBs each, this is where your voice lives whenever you speak, and these mid-range. So you add that, and I started doing it this way because whenever I found that whenever I played back and I tried to shift it, it kind of it made some weird noise, and it might just be the editor playback. I'm not exactly sure. And then I just add a transition here. Okay, so I've added the equalizer. Now I'm gonna turn it off in both spots and listen.
Off guard because Mason never did that. So I was thinking about that. I was writing it down last night, and I texted Grace.
While I've already, leveled off his audio and made it louder and all that stuff, the music is still, too loud. But if I go back in here, I'm gonna turn this back on. Now, I didn't change the volume of the song at all. Now listen to this.
Mason never did that. So I was thinking about that. I was writing it down last night, and I
just
texted
turn the
Grace. I
midtones,
said,
midtones.
when was the first time?
If you just turn the midtones of the song down a little bit, and then the voice still comes through and you're not losing the overall volume of the song, I think it's a great effect. Definitely check that one out. I often like to just lay stuff down too, see how it kind of plays back, and then if I don't really like it, if it doesn't really fit, then I will change it later. So as you've seen, I kind of had the first look. I tentatively maybe put it earlier, but then I have this with her little interview here about what she's really excited about, how she's feeling, her nerves and all of that. And then there's kind of this little lull in the music right about here, and then a beat. And I think that this is going to make a great spot for them to do their first look. So there's their first look. Probably for this one, what I'm going to do is we'll go back to maybe some of him talking and over this, and then kind of go from there. But there I have the moment, and so I know I want to do a little bit of their first look.
Grace is the most selfless, loving person I've ever met. She is exceptionally kind, careful.
One thing that was really powerful about this wedding is they had their first look, which it was nice. We had a great location. They reacted exactly how you wanted to. But for their ceremony, even though they had already seen each other, Mason got very, very emotional. And so when I see this, think about this ceremony shot, I definitely, whenever that music hits, I want it to be his reaction towards her. So I'm not exactly sure what else I'm going to be doing right here, right now. I'd like to get all this laid out, but I know that he finishes talking. We have a build up. We have a build up to the ceremony stuff, and this is where I'll put kind of some ceremony details and, you know, people coming in and that kind of thing. And then whenever this starts to build up, she comes in, and then boom, there's him being emotional. And there we go. And again, like I said, there isn't like much reception dancing stuff. And so I'm gonna incorporate a lot of, you know, toasts, more toasts and that kind of thing in here. Letter reading. I really liked what he said here at the end of his letter to her. So I'm kind of sounds like some vows here, so I might include this and just kind of see how this goes. Okay, so now I have the major chunks of audio laid out. I start with her letter, or his letter to her, then her letter to him. Then I have a toast from brother going here. And then I have more letter, toast from her sister, one of her sisters, and then interview, first look with interview by him. And then since their vows from their ceremony were more traditional, I liked including these from their letter, which were a little bit more personal. You know, I promise, but they're still vows or promises that they're making to each other, and then ending it that way. So this is, whenever I actually start to edit, this is the first thing that I do. After I pick out my music, we talked about that, and then I make the song the correct length. I talked about adding in the graphic equalizer and then bringing down some of the midtones so that you can kind of adjust the volume without really adjusting the volume. I think it makes it very easy. You can hear the voices, and then I just laid out all of the audio. And my next step in the next video, we are going to go through and we're going to start actually laying down and piecing down all the B-roll and this stuff to cover all of this up and finish up this wedding video. So that was part 3 of how to edit a wedding video. I hope it was very helpful to you, and I hope that by looking at this process, it can help you in your editing process. So how do you do it? If you found this video helpful, make sure you give us a thumbs up and a share. Maybe pass this on to your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. And until next time, see ya.